What is up, guys? It's Verns back again with another Supercoach video. Today we're going to be doing the post-open round team reveal. We've also got the open round games up there. We'll go through them pretty quickly, just because we don't have to talk about all players in depth. Like, some players did things that we didn't expect. Some premiums did what we expected. So, but yeah, we're going to chit chat about that. I will pick my team. I will try and go through that pretty quickly. I'll be honest. Changed a bit, but I really don't think overall it looks that different. I did change a little bit though, but we will just jump into the games first of all. So starting off, just Sydney Blues. In this game, I think the biggest standout to me was Sam Walsh. As we can see down here, he had 84% CBAs. Now, the biggest thing with Walsh that's always turned me off him is his injury history, and as we saw in the practice game, he did also have his back play up there, where he was holding his back and had to go to the bench. He ended up coming back into that game and played it out, and look, he's coming to this game, and he smashed this game as well with a really, really good CBA roll. And I think just the thing here is he's only priced at 102. It's pretty damn cheap for what this guy can do, and like 113 plus is, I feel like if he gets a full season together, he's at a flawless preseason. Like 113 plus is kind of just expected. So even if you got 110, for a 102 price tag, it's pretty good. I've talked about these open round players that you only really want to pick them if they have at least 5 points of upside, maybe can make 100k for you. Yeah, I think he's definitely got that with this role. I don't know if this is going to be the same role every single week. Obviously, Cripps and Hewitt has quite low CBAs, and the biggest thing is you got to worry about that back because you just never know when his back's going to flare up. But other than that, he passed the eye test in every other way. So Walsh is definitely on the board for consideration. I do think when we look at the rest of this Carlton team, no one else really stands out. I guess Liam Reedy's some of the people have had, not really the play, in my opinion. Where is it? Yeah, Togg's the far right. So it's 61%. That's fine, but he just couldn't score. I remember having a shot on goal that he missed. There's actually the behind right there. Yeah, honestly, in my opinion, not a play. I reckon you'd be better off just going for a non-playing ruckman rather than trying to get some sort of cash out of this guy, because he's technically priced at 22. That's a 31. Like, it's really not going to make much money, and it just seems like not worth the trade. Jaeger Smith, 65. Yeah, it's fine. 27 disposals at the end of the day. A lot of hand passes, nothing crazy really, but at his kind of price, we know he's going to play and we know he's going to score well enough, so you just lock that in. Don't really need to talk about that. McInerney, I'll just talk about just because he got a massive score. Obviously, he got forward DP at the end of last year, but when we do look at these CBA attendances, his CBA attendance is 34%. It's not really what you want. It's just a big game where he's kicked 3 goals, and I think a lot of people get baited into that. At his kind of price, you want to be picking him as a keeper forward, so it's kind of disgusting, and I would not be touching that personally, but I understand some people would. Goulden, yeah, in my opinion, he passed the test. I know a lot of people might look at that 60% CBA and think it's not enough. I do think that when Goulden had his massive year when he did get his 113 before he got injured for 2 years in a row, 113 average, he was majority wing a lot of that time, and he had less or around 30% CBAs. So this is enough, in my opinion. This is more than enough. This is an increase from when he was at his best previously, and even if he only gets back to his best, once again, he's priced at 105. If he gets 113, you're pretty happy with that. Goulden was someone that was in my team, then back out because we weren't too sure about the ankle, but he's come back out, he's played well, and he's scored well enough, in my opinion, that yeah, he'll definitely get looked at. Now this one pretty crazy from Grundy. So Grundy 112, that's great. He has 46 hitouts. That's massive. That's a lot of hitouts. And I don't know what the bracket is. There's no way the bracket is the 14 hitouts to advantage. There's no way. Because that's 70 points right there. That would be someone's entire score. And there's no way he didn't score more points around the ground. He kicked the goal as well. A bunch of contested possessions, 5 clangers. Yeah, that's massive. I don't know what the bracket is, and I probably need to figure that out, what brackets, or is that CBAs is the 14? I'm not too sure. But yeah, massive game from him, did really well. It's kind of crazy that this is a massive game from him, and he got a 112. This is where it does become a bit scary with the rucks, where it's like, oh god, this looks like a really good game. This looks like it should be more points, and the point that it's not is just does get a little scary. I think Pitnet personally did really well on the ruck against him, though. This wasn't a walkover matchup like we thought it was going to be, sort of thing. Pitnet's always been a bit of a restricted ruck. I think he did actually quite well in the CBAs, and did quite a good job actually overall. So, but yeah, I thought Grundy looked good. I was surprised his score was as low as it was. I thought it was better than this. But yeah, we'll just quickly scroll down from here. There's just Jai Solrong, just lock him in, lock, load, easy done. Mills, anyone that's still going there? Oh, I don't know. I mean, you can't just go off a score, but kick-ins 2 out of 2. So, I mean, even Bice is coming back and taking kick-ins. So is Goulden. I think Bice was playing on a wing, and then Blakey as well. And I'm sure you'll have matchups where it's better, but yeah, that didn't look great overall. 15 hand passes isn't what you want to be seeing either from like that kind of defender. You'd love him to have like 20 kicks and 5 hand passes, but yeah, that's quickly Swans done. So we will jump in to Suns here now. Track obviously someone that's been locked into. I know personally my team, and I think anyone who didn't have him locked into their team is now should be 100%. Like this was insane from him. Even if it's his best game of the year, it just shows you his ceiling. This man is a machine. He is so good. Center bounces weren't as high as we would have hoped. I mean, yeah, it's still pretty good, just under 60%. And then he goes up forward, and he's a damaging forward. Now, with this, obviously Gold Coast are going to be a team that we think are going to be a top 4 team. So if Track's in the forward line, then he has the ability to kick a few goals. Amazing. If he's on ball, he's going to be the contested beast he was. And when he was on the ball, God, he was good. Yeah, he was super impressive. Don't need to overtalk that. Miller, just doing Miller things, always around the mark where you need to kind of consider, is he good enough? And especially with, I guess, Rail out for a little bit, maybe a little bit of over, like, extra burn in the midfield. Nah, not even. He actually got no CBAs at all, so there is no way you touch Miller at all. We'll probably get, I think, forward DVP. I'm pretty sure he's playing off the forward line. This is one of those games where I was, like, listening to it because I was driving at the time rather than watching. I did watch at times, don't get me wrong. But I definitely watched the whole last quarter, but the first 3 quarters were a bit more listening. First quarter I actually watched a fair bit of too. It was mainly the middle 2 quarters. But yeah, I didn't actually take mental note of when Miller was playing off specifically. The one goal suggests he's probably off half forward. At the end of last year, it was off half forward. Someone going to assume it was off half forward. Probably the Sam Walsh role. I think I remember that actually in a CBA where he came instantly from the half forward onto the ball because they had a second ball up again. So, technically you're playing with a midfielder, but you're just not in the CBAs, and you probably end up with forward DPP potential for a top 6 forward. Not someone you start. I think we just monitor throughout the season and we consider, is it good enough to be a forward? Humphrey, elite. I mean, kicked 4 goals in like the first quarter and a bit. I think he kicked his 4th goal at the start of the second quarter. Noble just ticking on from last year. Someone that's just maybe a bit of an underrated defender, someone that we just don't give enough credit to, but yeah, really good from him. Anderson worked through a tag really well. If you got 100 from him, I think if you're hot on Anderson, I think you're even more hot now. Like, this might seem weird because 100 feels like an underscore, but he went 1-4, so obviously easily ticks up. He got tagged super hard, and a lot of this game was down at like halftime. I think he's like 30 Supercoach points. So the point he managed to turn around and just blitz this game, like, just incredible from him. And you can see minus 20 on the scaling. That means that he did more of his work in the second half of the game. So yeah, he got shut down early, then had an amazing second half, but because the game was already dead, it was actually minus 20 on the scaling, which is insane. I think if you're hot on him, you're even hotter now, honestly. Not someone I was going near, but yeah, that's nuts from him. Sorry, we're not going to cover everyone. Will Powell had CBAs, and he's like 300k defender, so like, if you're interested, feel free to look there. Lombard did what he needed for us to, I think, pick him. And Zeke Newland actually got dumpstered by Dempsey. He was on Dempsey when he kicked like the 4 goals straight in like the 4th quarter. He kicked 1 at the end of the 3rd, but then like 3 in the 4th, and just like, to be fair, Newland was only on him for 3 of those. I think it was one of those things where they were letting him run with him because it's like, this is a learning curve. You got to get over it. You got to get over that hump. And then after it kicked his 3rd, they're like, okay, let's switch you to the other wing because you are getting, this is no longer learning. This is kind of just demoralizing. But yeah, you can't touch him. Dempsey, honestly, elite player and someone I have in a keeper league that I'm happy with. Stewart, really good game from Stewart in reality. Stewart is at a cheap price tag, so It's not bad. I don't think you're touching Stewart. I don't think you're touching Holmes. I'm not going to overtalk these. Bruin's the real one you need to talk about. 91 laid off the halfback, 31 disposals, 22 of them being kicks. This is what I talked about earlier with Mills. You want the kick to handball ratio to be better. That's just elite. That's exactly what we want. Even with 2 free kicks against, 5 clangers in there as well. Only 68% disposal efficiency. Like, that's still really good from him. A bunch of negative scaling. Now, the thing that I was mainly paying attention to was his TOG. And that might seem random, but when we picked him a couple of years back when he was like 360k, first of all, he's 360, not like 270. He's way cheaper now. But the biggest problem was his TOGs were always in the 60s. Like, he'd have like 64% TOG, 65% TOG, 63% TOG. And it was almost impossible to score when you're playing just over half a game of footy. Now, 72, it's not a huge amount more, unfortunately. I wanted it to be higher than this. But I think it's good enough. And with such an elite role, you probably just lock him in. Because the upside's clearly there. It is clearly there. Speaking of which, I do think that affected my sneaky pod, Lawson Humphrey, so he's got a 65. I was going to pod pick him, so maybe a bit saved here because this, I mean, to be fair, this just wasn't his game either. A lot of things didn't go his way. He actually took 4 kick-ins, which is really nice. Bruno actually only took 1, but then he played on from 2 of them, which is a little annoying there. But the man's getting kick-ins, and I think what happened, unfortunately, in the practice game, Stewart took such a back seat and just made sure every ball went through Humphrey that it kind of lulled me into a false sense of security, thinking he was going to be doing what Stewart's done here, 16 kicks, 8 handballs, but instead he's ended up with 8 and 8. Not as many kicks as we thought because they weren't using him as much to attack out of defense as they did in the practice game. And as I said, that's probably because Stewart was in the back seat. I do think probably Bruin also affected that a bit, just in the sense that obviously he played a bit of mid-time in that game. But I feel like early in the game, they were going a lot through Humphrey. So, look, I think there's a chance Humphrey still bounces back and ends up being like 500k by the end of the year, potentially, because he's talented enough. And I think what we saw in the practice game was still really good. And even if they want to be, it might be one of those things that they were getting flogged so hard that Stewart was just trying to take the reins, and because of that, they weren't going through Humphreys like they did in the practice game, where the ball went through him a lot of times. So, yeah, look, as I said, Humphrey's probably irrelevant. I'm over-talking this. This is my sneaky pod, and I am jumping off it because it just didn't work out in this game, unfortunately. It might bounce back, but we don't need to take a risk on someone that's already got a bad roll into his cycle, like a bad Supercoach score in his cycle, and didn't really get the same role we saw in the practice game, unfortunately. Yeah, and that's sort of it from Geelong. So we'll move on here. I want to make this a bit quicker, so once again I'll try and speed it up a bit. Stringer, you're not picking anyway. Now Oliver's always been in my team, so yeah, that's what I needed to see from him. 83% CBAs, perfect contested beast as well, contested possessions 19, exactly what I needed to see from him. Lock him in, throw away the keys. Now the Cogs is the very interesting one, in the sense that Cogs, he didn't really have any CBAs. Like, he played off the half forward. I think he had 4 CBAs, 11%. I think it says it down here. Yep. So, this is where it's weird, because he gets like a 122, and you look at it and you go, this guy's like 300k. Caniglio's previously been like a 550k plus player. We're getting a huge discount on him. He's shown up. He looked incredible. He did all the right things. This is the guy. But then you look at the role and you go, actually, he was stuck half forward all game. 2 things here. He has previously been a forward premium when he was 250k, played the whole season and got up to like 550k. This could be the same thing. He is a 300k premium, a little bit more expensive. He's playing off the forward line, so he will get forward DPP. I just wonder if he's talented enough and good enough that he will still be able to score well enough for us while not playing through the midfield. Because if you think there's any game he's going to play through the midfield, you would think this game, while not this game, but like obviously while we have Tom Green out, you'd think he'd maybe get a little bit of an uptick, but he's not. It's Toby Green getting the uptick. Saying that, they obviously flogged the Hawks. He got on the end of 2 goals. It's not even that many goals, to be fair. And I think was really good at the end of the day. And I think it's worth a risk personally. And I do think Giants are going to be a good team. They're going to win a lot of games. The ball's going to start down in their forward line, and I think he'll be good enough at that price tag where he's priced at like 60. He really only needs to get an 85. He's shown he can still get 120 plus. I think there's a good chance here. Now Fonte, obviously a huge score from him. This was one's a little bit interesting. 14 kicks, 8 handballs. Got a fair few kicks, and we think that might be because Ash went off with hammy awareness towards the end of the game. He still played 85%. I actually didn't realize he played that much of the game. Ash was just cooked this game. He was cooked. He just wasn't the guy this game. Fonte, I thought, did stuff Ash would normally do. And it's very, very enticing. Even if you start him, he gets a price rise by round 3, and he's not the guy. This could happen with him. So Fonte's priced at 290k with a 119 in the system. You end up starting him. Okay, he gets a 65 and then a 70. He ends up gaining 35k off it or whatever. And you realize, oh, this was just a glow up game. This was an irregular. This isn't going to happen again. That was a one-off situation. You know what? It's round 2. He's had a price rise. Nobody else has had a price rise. Well, most players haven't had a price rise, and you just flick him down to Blackiston, you bank the extra 35, 40k that you got on top of him, and you move on. Yeah, it cost you a trade, but if not, if it goes well, then he's already got a great score in his cycle, and it looked good for what I could see. I mean, 9 marks is obviously the highest in the game, so maybe that's the irregular part that it's boosting his game. These marks mean also extra kicks, so it's not just the mark score, it's the kick scores most likely, except for when he's hand passing to runners, of course. But yeah, definitely someone you could look into. Whitfield, yeah, good enough. Standard Whitfield. Callahan, people might have cooled on him. He had a really poor start to the game and then came back at the end of the game. Once again, this is a blowout, so scaling worked against him there. Green played a lot of CBAs, so, I mean, you could take a risk there because he's got the role, but I'm not personally interested in it. And I don't think there's anyone else from... Yeah, there's no one else in this game that we're worrying about. Anyone else from... honestly, anyone else in this game, because if we jump into the Hawthorn, just nobody's relevant. I mean, Sicily had an incredible game, Supercoach wise, but I mean, look at that, 5 frees against, but it's 12 contested. That's really the big thing here. Big game from him. He's a cheaper price, could be tempting people. I think he was a slider in a lot of draft leagues where people were ignoring him, and then he did this, and I know it was my pick in like 2 picks, and I was like, you know what, I still need 2 defenders, and someone else threw him on his bench, and I was like, god damn it. Connor McDonald, definitely an inflated role because they had McKenzie out, and I think someone else was also out for round 1, which means he got more CBAs than you'd probably expect, but even then, only 33%, so still not even that much CBAs. Looks like Ward was the main benefactor here. Maybe even more getting up for a few as well. But yeah, Connor McDonald, not going to touch that. Nick Watson, I think he was a slider in drafts, so I got him pretty cheap. And I think that is it. So we will move on to the next game. Zorko doing Zorko things. Neil winding back the clock. You absolutely love that from these two, but they still lost an incredibly close game. Will Ashcroft, inflated CBAs, especially because McClug Dog went down super early, first quarter, so that's super unfortunate for them. So it might be a bit of an uptick for Will Ashcroft because we don't know how long he's going to be out for. And he could get an inflated CBA role. Same with maybe potentially Neil there, who had almost 90% CBAs. That is not something I was expecting from Neil. You would have thought with Will coming through, obviously Klug being how good he was last year, I think they've given up on Rayner getting CBAs. But we have the other Ashcroft brother who we thought might have maybe got a tick or 2. And Berry sometimes gets CBAs, also plays on the wing a lot. But yeah, 90% is actually kind of insane. Like, that's a genuine sneaky pod. You could go for that. I know a lot of people probably won't because of his age, but yeah, that's kind of sneaky as interesting. 15 contested, insane. I think from Brisbane, there's nobody else we're really looking at here in reality, though. Revel is someone that was interesting me. He played a lot of wing, though. That was the problem. I was hoping he was playing off the half back, but Zorku came back into the team, so Revel slipped up to the ring rather than playing half back like he did in the practice game. So Revel's pretty cheap, though. 240k, he gets a 70. He's playing in the wing. You think he's locked into this team. He could be a sneaky one, but I think we probably just have better mid-price options. And the thing is, you can probably find rookies that will get close enough to this score that you don't need to pay the extra 110k for Revel. And then ZZ, this was massive from ZZ in the sense that he played 44% game time, and what a Supercoach score. Like, that's really, really good. And yeah, with him, he was someone that I actually considered throwing on my bench because we talked about Reedy not being the guy anymore. So I thought maybe we can put Zizi on the bench and, that can put McCann through the field. But then the problem here with Zizi is just the 44% time Tog. Draper comes back round 4, and you think that Draper probably just slips in, Zizi slips out, and they move forward. So yeah, I don't think you can pick him, unfortunately. He's really just a pseudo sub at this point, and that's even with McCluggage having 17% TOG. So this wasn't even like a game where they had 5 on the bench and he was getting run as a pseudo sub. They had 4 on the bench all game and he was still getting run as a pseudo sub. That's insane and really unfortunate for Brisbane because, Klug doesn't get injured, then obviously extra legs in everyone potentially because they have the extra rotation. And also Klug just being a beast, maybe they don't end up dropping this game at the end. So unlucky there. Richards, he's going to attempt a few. What a beast he is, and especially with Bont kind of moving out of the CBA role. You can see he's not even in the top tier. 46% CBA. No, if you're starting Bont, you're dropping him right now, in my opinion. I don't think you can pay that kind of money for a guy that played majority forward and had to kick 3 goals to get this score, and it's still 17 points under what you need from him. Me personally, we know I've never really touched Bont. I'm a little upset with this because I feel like a lot of people got baited into Bont and Nas, who didn't have the greatest opening games, and Nas's role, nothing wrong with that. And Bont's role, a bit of a problem with that. But I think from this game, if you're going to go a midfielder from Bulldogs, it's Richards. English, even with a really good game, 2 goals here, 5 free, 4 with only 1 against. This is a great game again, and it's still won at 117, which just makes you think, damn. I do think Fort did really well, though, overall. I feel like he fought really hard. Wow, what a pun. But, he really stayed in it with English. But, English just outran him. I mean, he got a clutch goal at the end where he just, you watch him put on the Jets, and he just left him in the afterburners. He was gone. And he got the run on at the end of the kick right in front of goals and got a massive goal for them. So, English was still really good. It hasn't changed my opinion with him, I think. I think there was a bit of time where I was going, obviously, Gorn and Cherry, but I think it's just going to be English at the end of the day. I think he's just the one ruck you kind of lock in. As I mentioned, Bont, get rid of him. Buderick, this is a huge one. I think you need to be starting Buderick, definitely. Yes, he got a goal. But look down here. He had 8 kick-ins. Yes, he only played on from 7 of them, but this is a premium half-back role, and he's 240k in the forward line. That's insane. That's exactly what we look for. That's what we've looked for with Zeeble previously. I've had it with Hall. We've had it with Caleb Daniel. We've had it with even Bailey Dale. Any of these guys that for some reason end up with forward status, end up really cheap, and then they end up on this premium halfback role, almost always end up as premium forward keepers. And even if he doesn't end up as a premium forward keeper, he's so cheap that you think he's 200k underpriced, almost guaranteed. And Buderick's one of these guys that a few years ago, I don't know if you guys remember this, but we were considering starting him in the half-back line for 330k because we thought he's going to be the main distributor from Gold Coast. He's going to be the guy at Gold Coast that makes that big step. He then got injured in preseason and didn't even play, and then when he came back, I think he just wasn't that guy. Obviously ended up with a lot of forward time because of the way Gold Coast got structured, and his price just plummeted. He's now being traded to the Dogs. He's now behind the ball. You do wonder how much of that is in the fact that Dale obviously was kind of cooked this game. I just don't know. Underdone from preseason, was obviously injured in preseason and didn't even play their practice games, and maybe a bit underdone, so Buderick took a bit more on himself. But you can't not see that 105 score, that incredible role, that price tag with forward status, and think that there's no way you're not picking him. So just facts, put him in your team somehow. Jux really stepped up this game, so I think everyone's locking him in, and Selwood as well. I didn't expect both of these guys to play, and I didn't expect both of them to do really well, but with the defensive crops, you'd think you just got to lock them in, and they end up getting the win at the end of the day, and I think both of them did it well enough. Now, Selwood's obviously a bit more of a lockdown role. You can see 7 tackles, that is, so did a really good job on. He's playing that small forward role. Didn't do a really good job, to be fair. I don't think he was on Zach Bailey. Was he on Charlie Cameron? I don't quite remember. But yeah, did well enough and scored well enough that you think just put him on your mid-bench, sorry, your defense bench, and Jux potentially can go on field with 14 kicks, 2 hand passes. You love that ratio. I guess the only one I missed on Brisbane was Kitty Coleman. Personally, I'm not considering him. I don't think you should be considering him. Last week when he was playing in the practice game, even though he had the defense role, whoever he was playing on, I forgot who he played on, but he got torched by his defender. The forward absolutely cooked him all game long. Couldn't stop him. Let him kick multiple goals where he's just out of position, didn't read the ball well, just gave up free marks. Kind of sucked. And then this round, this is even good. 13 kicks, 5 handballs. That's a good ratio. Still 61%. Yeah, he's not the guy. I think you're fading him. Sam Darcy. A lot of people are hot on him, and he's a key forward. So he'll have big games and he'll have small games. He's also against Harris Andrews this game, who we know is just an absolute monster in defense. I think you just accept that's probably going to be one of his lower games you get. I do think we're not going to start him as a key forward. Usually they will drop. He is good enough where I could see him not dropping because he's not even that cheap. He could follow this up with 2 really good games and it not be a problem. But I'm not personally starting him, and I think you'd have to have cojones to start him after that 61. Yes, good enough. Let's jump on to the final game. We'll wrap this up nice and quickly. First of all, let's go Pies. Beautiful win there. This is still the same St Kilda in the sense of how they play. What this does mean is they play that very heavy zone. They flood the defensive line and they let the ball get passed around, chipped around by the enemy defenders. They let them chip it around before making that sort of dissecting kick. They encourage you to make that dissecting kick. They're like, you've gotta make this sharp kick into a hard position and nail it, or we're gonna just flood people there and absolutely just stop any movement going forward. St Kilda, just the way they play as well because of that, just means it's naturally low scoring. I think the other games were really high scoring, in this game it wasn't the same game, and it's just the way St Kilda play. What this does mean though is, as you can see, Josh Dacos, huge score, 27 kicks, of course. Brendan Maynard, huge score, 18 kicks, of course. Chris plays a little bit of everywhere, but he ends up floating behind the ball, I'm pretty sure, a lot of times. Danny Houston floated behind the ball, 21-7. Isaac Quainer, it's just insane. 13 marks, 13 marks, 11 marks, 11 marks, 13 marks, 12 marks. He plays on the wing, Lipinski, so he does flip around for these as well. Yeah, just St Kilda let you possess the ball and force you to try and make difficult kicks to make progression, and we were obviously able to do that enough and win, but it does mean that the defenders just rack up so much of the pill and just get so big Supercoach scores. So yeah, just when you're playing against St Kilda's, defenders are still the guys to go. Speaking of defenders still being the guys to go, Sinclair, absolute pig, smashed this game with Nas moving out. Obviously Windhager was there, but yeah, Windhager's definitely he didn't take any kick-ins. I know he did take one, but he didn't even play on from it. Sinclair gets all the kick-ins. All the ball goes through Sinclair, even though Windhager's there. And he does exit defense as well and did do really well. Once again, this is a guy that's pretty cheap for 40k and had 2 decent games I've seen. But yeah, Sinclair's just the pick from St Kilda. If you're going anyone from St Kilda in the defense line, it is clearly Sinclair. De Koning did a lot of solo rucking in reality because Marshall got hurt, 63% game time there, got concussed, so there's almost not an almost solo De Koning game, but this is majority ruck game from De Koning and still not really a good enough score. Yeah, ruck's just looking underdone. It's just not good enough for rucks. Rucks in general, just because of the way the rules are, it just ain't it. Max Hall, I know people were identifying as a sneaky breakout. Flanders, this is fine by Flanders, because what we want to look at with Flanders, we want to look at these CBAs, and we see 75% CBAs, and you go, you know what, the score, yeah, could have been better, but the role was what we wanted, so we will lock him in nevertheless. Nas, anyone on him has instantly abandoned ship, probably just flipped it straight to Sinclair. Obviously someone I haven't touched this preseason, hasn't been in my team, not because he's not elite, but just because of the price tag personally, and they have that early buy. I think there's justification for Sinclair, where now that Nas is out of his defensive line, Sinclair could very easily take it to another level. He was almost a 113 average last year, and he was sharing with Nas a lot of that season. So you take Nas out of it, is there 5 points of upside on him? There might not be for his price, but I'm also not super convinced on a lot of the defenders. So I think Sinclair at minimum, you're probably getting what you're paying for. But he's also missing a game, so it's a little bit rough there. Yeah, Jack McRae, very low Togo, surprising. Jack Carroll, I think did enough to start him just because the mid rookies suck ass. So honestly, just getting one that played, and even if you get 50s along the board, he'll make money. He'll be a slow burn, but he'll make money. Yeah, I think that's it from Saints and Collingwood. There's really no one that stands out. I think the only rookies, Ed Allen, Will Parker, but those aren't good enough scores. I think Ed Allen might be inflated. I think Will Parker's like a 138k defender. Not really a good enough score, and I didn't see enough from him personally. Yeah, De Goey's obviously a bit of a mid-pricer too, so you could be looking there for a mid-pricer. 90's not bad, but he didn't really have a CBA role at all. Like, I think he played a couple of CBAs, 7 CBAs, so 30%. It's not terrible at the end of the world. But I wouldn't be happy enough with that. Also with the injury risk, and he didn't actually, he did kick a bunch of goals, didn't he? Yeah, he kicked 3 goals, so it relied on 3 goals at the end of the day to get to this score, and the injury risk, I just don't think is personally worth it. Yeah, nobody else really from Collingwood. Nick Dacos, I think you'd be happy enough with what you got here, and you'd probably start him if you. This didn't change your opinion on Nick Dacos. You're starting him or you weren't. Did not change. Kind of worked through a tag a bit, so a little bit impressive. Not a tag, but more attention. Yeah, I think we're happy enough there. All right, well, let's wrap that up and let's get this team picked. I know I've already been chit-chatting for a fair bit of time, 30 minutes, and we haven't even picked the team, so we will quickly speed run through it as best I can. I actually didn't even bring my team up on the side, so I am kind of freeballing this a little. Whoopsie daisy. That is silly of me. Let me try this. Oh, there we go. Now I got my team. What I am thinking, yep, so we're thinking Sinclair. I'll be honest, I just had a bit of money extra, so I could afford to go up from Clark to Sinclair. And I think he just showed that he's going to be good enough. Now Rosie's locked into everyone's team. Clark kind of flicked up to Sinclair. Now the next one is obviously McKirch. I think everyone has Kirch. If Kirch ends up laid out, then we just try and pivot him to someone. I can probably flick him up to Clark, which is good enough for me personally. Going down, I don't have any of this mid-price madness in my defense as much as I wouldn't mind like a Blackiston or anything like that. I just didn't have the money for it with the way I set up my team. So we're going straight down to cheap, guys. Cheap. Now I've put Farrow, I think, in there. No, I haven't actually. Sorry, we are going further down. We're going cheap. We've got Lindsay in there who we're expecting to play. Jai Sobrong, who did really well and should just be a lock for everyone. I think Jack's made himself a lock. Selwood, obviously, I said bench player. And then I'm not too sure where this the 8th defender is going to be right now. I've just put Dirks in there just for the hell of it. It's not really a big deal. It might be Farrow. I have enough money in the bank where that could be the case. Excuse me, guys, but personally I don't want it to be Farrow. He's an elevated rookie. I don't want to be paying up that much for him, especially someone that I think I'll be running on my bench at the end of the day, but it might just be the case. So we will jump into the midfield. Now Butters is still there. We're still going to have Andy B there. They are just locked away. Now Goulden has made his way on into this team. He's slipped on in. I guess I'll just quickly do the flex while we're at it, just because this is technically where the flex guy sits, but it's going to be Sammy Walsh as well. Look, I know at the end of the day we saw all these guys, and these guys are going to have buys, and I probably shouldn't be picking so many guys with buys, but the thing was we saw them, they had the roles, they did what they wanted. A lot of these guys like Goulden and Walsh, they've all have injury-infected seasons, which means they are way below their price tag, and there is 5.0 upside as long as they're just healthy. I thought he was 102 average. He's, just like a 100 average Walsh, so he's very cheap for what we can get from him. Then we got Clary still in there, so very happy with that. He was happy with what he did. We're going to go down and get Young in here. Now, this is where we get a little bit of that mid-price madness. Right now, I've got Parrish. Parrish is actually the one that I'm considering chopping and changing out of any of these, just because in the practice game, he didn't look good enough, in my opinion. So, yeah, Young, you lock in. He might be injured, so we're not 100% sure. McKircher may also be injured, so they're the two guys that you're looking at it if they are actually going to play. If they play, I'm pretty happy to lock them in. Parrish, on the other hand, we didn't see any... this is where it becomes a little bit awkward for me, because obviously this is, now you're thinking, Vern, you have him on your bench? That's wild. That just seems like a waste. Jaeger's on my bench. I know, that just... It's just the only spot I had for him. I've also got Blamiras here. Like, if I'm playing this many mid-prices, I just end up in an awkward position where, yeah, I don't have any room for Jaeger. Yes, if, as I mentioned, if anyone goes, it's like Jaeger comes on, Parrish goes out. Yeah, I guess the only exception here is, say, McKercher. As I said, McKercher can easily go up, so it's not really a problem either. Yeah, this just becomes really hard where I want Jaeger on field, and it makes sense to have Jaeger on field, but also I don't want to be paying up for these mid prices and not putting them on field. I almost feel like Bruin and Cogs are locked in there, Young potentially injured, and then if I find maybe a better structure where I get rid of Parrish, maybe I get rid of Parrish. If we find other rookies as well, because there's not really any mid-pricer rookies. Like, when I look at the mid-pricer rookies, like, these are maybe only the 3 we have, so that's why it ends up being this kind of bench. But yeah, we might have to look at that when actually round one's starting. If we find another rookie, maybe we're able to put them in instead of Smith, get rid of Parrish, maybe move Smith on field. Maybe we get rid of Young because he's not even named. And then with that extra money, I'm not too sure what we'll do with it, to be fair. I'm not sure what I'll do with that extra 200k. I'm pretty happy with where my team's sitting. But yeah, we will jump to English, who's locked in there. And this is where things have changed. So I have actually gone McAndrew R2. Honestly, the reason for this, and then we've just gone for a loop at this point, which is kind of crazy. The reason for this is we saw English do really well. We've seen every ruck have a down tick, and at the end of the day, like, yes, Gorn and Cherry might be able to reclaim these heights, and if they do reclaim these heights, then great, you paid for what you got. You're not getting value off them, you're not getting overs what they're worth, and there's a very good chance that because of the way this is structured, they're going to be unders. They're going to be 10 points less, and you're going to be overpaying for them. And I don't think I need to force that at the end of the day. Yeah, I wouldn't mind Cherry, but I'm also going to feel really stupid if Cherry comes out. As I mentioned, North have this very easy run early, and I think you would love to target North people at this stage, but like, you'd hate for Cherry to come out in these easy matchups and be like a 110, 105 average over that period of time. And then you just have to kind of get rid of him because he's just not good enough. You know, on the easy runs, he didn't do enough. Rucks just aren't the vibe this season. I don't know. I would love to start Cherry, but the way the team's worked out, I feel like I have more confidence in like Walsh and Goulden, who are like underpriced mid-prices, rather than like a Cherry sort of thing. Well, underpriced premiums, fallen premiums. Like, the thing is, Goulden, Oliver, like Walsh, they could all average that 113, the 115, 16 mark. And that's good enough. That's good enough for your M876 sort of thing. So, yeah, I know it's a little bit weird kind of locking in 5 midfielders at this stage. It does only leave 3 spots available. What day costs? Maybe I get a Bont. Maybe a Baslanka. Like, I'm not sure what the third one would be, but we'll try and figure it out. Now, forward line, I think super stock standard. I think everyone has this kind of forward line, so it's just not going to be any different from anyone else. So I'm just going to quickly lock it in as fast as I can. First 3 speak for themselves. Budrik I already talked about being like almost a must-have in my opinion. Philippou did enough at his price tag in my opinion. And then this is where it gets a little... Wait, I'm blanking. Who was the forward here? So we have Dev Robertson. Yeah, I remember now. And then we have Todd Marshall. I'd actually prefer Todd on field, but just how it is right now. And then this leaves a decent amount of money, 250k. I'm thinking I'll just go for a cheap rookie. That's what I was thinking, because I don't want to overpay. I actually forgot. I feel like I'm missing a rookie right now. Oh, Lombard. Okay, yes, Lombard. There we go. Boom, and there's Lombard. So that's what the team would look like. I have 130k, and that 130k allows me to flip, as I've said, McKercher up. If I did end up going down from Parrish, that's where it ends up a little bit awkward, because down from Parrish to put Jaeger on field, it puts another 230k here. Then I have 330k, and then I'd really want to go one of these mid-prices up to a premium. And I just don't know who. I think it might end up being Cogs at the end of the day. I'm just not sure. I'm pretty happy with what I saw here. But yeah, there ended up being a lot of guys from open round in my team. But like, we got actual data, real life game data, and all of them passed the tests. There's a lot of worries that you had about players here and there. And that's another reason why Clark ended up going up to Sinclair, just because of the money. I don't need the extra 60k from going down. But yeah, we saw good signs from Sinclair. We saw good enough signs from Goulden, Walsh. I was already locked in on track. We saw all of our goods, like exactly what I wanted to see from him. And then, yeah, Cogs and Bruin threw themselves into the fray. Buderick threw himself into the fray. Made me make a little bit of an adjustment there. But yeah, I think just you got to take the data you got, and we got free data on these players, and they did what we needed them to do at the end of the day. Just going to save the team. It should be the exact same as what I set up previously. Yeah, as I said, the only thing I'm a bit worried about that I sort of need to work out here is maybe getting Jaeger on field and maybe pushing Hayden Young up to another premium. I'm just not sure where I would go with that sort of thing. Obviously, 330k means I can kind of pick any premium I want. I'm not sure at all. And it's one of those things where obviously I can move Kirch up as well if he doesn't play. Yeah, I've talked enough about it, but this is how the team's looking. This is what I'm thinking. Oh my god, I'm so sorry about that. I really slapped that thing down. I think it's a good-looking team. I'm really happy with it. Yeah, I'm personally really happy with it. I think it's going to do what I need it to do. I'm a little bit worried about not running like a Cherry or something as an R2, but I think this is just a more of a... It's not even a lower risk. I feel like this is not even, lower reward, and I don't think it's like a higher risk, lower risk. I feel like this is a lower risk play with McAndrew, and the reward isn't even that crazy if you were to get Cherry and he does well. Yes, you got what you paid for. That's nothing crazy about that. McAndrew, yeah, you play him on field because I'm using Walsh in the flex, and he gets 80, scores way above his price tag and just way more value on field. So yeah, that's the team, guys. I'm happy with it personally. A lot of open round players, which I'm usually pretty against picking open round players, but as I said, when they're at least 5 points to 100k underpriced, I think you just lock them in. And from what we saw, we're lucky to lock them in. Anyway, I'll quit rambling there, but I'd like to appreciate all those that have liked and subscribed for the consistent injections of Supercoach content directly into the YouTube feed. Those that did tune in all the way to the end of the video as well, you will get a league code here. I know this is a little bit wacky, but basically league code wise, I just keep forgetting to drop it every video. I did have it asked in a few of my comments below, is there any league codes? I kind of just forgot about leagues. I'll be honest, I'm so focused on just the actual team itself. I haven't even maxed out my leagues. I've only joined like 10, and even those, even those ones I've only joined recently because I kind of forgot about them. But the league code will be 831892. So come join that, and then if that ends up filling up, maybe I'll make another one. But yeah, come join that versus me in the head-to-heads. Usually everyone beats me, but I'm pretty happy with how the team's looking this time around. Is it that different to many other people's teams? I'm not too sure. I haven't checked out many other team reveals. I'm trying to really stay towards my own thoughts and what I'm seeing and just stick to my guns sort of thing rather than being influenced too much by those around me. Kirch is maybe one of those picks where I have been influenced by those around me. That's an example of it. And till next time, guys, I appreciate all you. Best of luck for round 1, and I will catch you after that. Peace, later.